Welcome into the Skolcial Network. Last week we were told we weren't excited enough, so I just snorted 8 crushed up Adderall and chugged 5 Red Bulls. Brev is drinking a zero sugar Coke Zero or the Oreo Coke. Did I say that right?
Yeah, Oreo Coke. Don't be confused. I'm also on an obscene amount of crack cocaine as well.
For legal reasons, all of this is a joke. Also, Brev hit
No.
the button. Brev, you know what you are on? You
Yeah.
are on a trend recently of looking incredibly good heading into the fall. How are you pulling that off? What is
Yeah.
your grooming routine lately?
Well, let's not confuse the people. I've been looking good for almost 25 years. It'll be 25 years in December, but it's been even more so since I've become a bearded man. Maybe looking like a little bit like a lumberjack or a Viking myself, and that's from the official men's self-care, wellness, grooming, whatever you want to call it, brand of the Scotial Network, Dr. Squatch. Feel like a man, smell like Scotial. You can use the link below to get $10 off a purchase of $20 or more. So they got soap, they got deodorant, they got cologne. They got ball lotion. You know, if you're getting a little sweaty watching the Vikings game on Sunday, which Jason is about to tell you about how you might want to go watch some Vikings games here in a minute, they got everything. So go use that link down there. And if you feel like you maybe stink and you want to support the channel or us as a show individually, you can do that by using that link.
I know I'll be sweaty Sunday because it's 112 degrees in Phoenix and it's about to be October, which would be a great opportunity to get out of town or maybe stay in town, go buy some Cardinals tickets because you can get very good deals on those because Arizona Cardinals fans are a myth. They don't exist. But why not use SeatGeek and use code JasonH or code Brev to go ahead and save $20 off your first purchase? Postseason baseball starting here soon. As a Dodgers fan, this is the only part of baseball I look forward to and also hate because it is an expectation we go and an absolute guarantee I'll be sad. We also have NBA, NHL starting off here soon. So if you haven't used SeatGeek, sign up, use one of the codes, and go have some fun. But Brev, I do want to refer back to that comment we got last week. I think it was something along the lines of, "You look like you're as excited as someone going to the dentist." Are we excited about this team? How are you feeling now? I mean, we've had 3 weeks and some time to think through and kind of look at the course of those first 3 games. How are we feeling?
Yeah, I'm gonna assume that comment was sarcasm. I guess just because I want to, because I don't know. We've been getting some comments that were negative, and again, I don't know if there's so like I don't know what about me saying this is the best team in the NFL is negative. And also, checkmate. I do like going to the dentist, so stop telling on yourself. Um, we are very, very excited about this team, and I guess I have to. Maybe if I talk like this and oh, the Vikings are so good, guys. We're gonna win the Super Bowl. We're the best team in the NFL. Like, is that better?
No, that is terrifying. Do not do that,
I'm just
please.
asking. I'm just asking what's needed. I'm not mad at all about it. There are totally not other instances in my life in which my monotone ass voice has caused me problems in my personal life. But you know, I'm wired that way. We are very excited about the Minnesota Vikings, and don't get it twisted. I have said in multiple articles that I've written over on purpleptsd.com, as well as on the show, that the Vikings have been the best team in the NFL through 3 weeks. No team is doing what the Minnesota Vikings are doing. They're blowing out, dominating. Okay, they didn't blow out for the 49ers, but they are dominating really good teams, Super Bowl contenders. Hopefully they continue that against the Packers. And you know, there's that Giants game week 1. They're a bad team, but like what do you want the Vikings to do? Not blow them out?
Yeah. It Look, I think back to a few years ago before I had a kid and bought Sunday Ticket because now I don't leave the house. And yes, I was posting videos of myself at my local Vikings bar on a table with a skull drum, leading a skull chant, and that was me being excited. But times change, situations change. I'm still excited, but if I jump on our kitchen table with a skull drum, my wife and child will murder me, and I'd like to stay alive and watch what the Minnesota Vikings are doing. I will say, I will fully admit that any seeming lack of excitement or maybe being just really focused on the analytics and just the details of things is just because I'm still in shock. Um, and we'll talk about this in a minute. Brev and I knew this season had potential to be good, but I don't think anyone, and yes, we're 3 weeks in. This could all look really dumb in a couple days if this Packers game does not go well. But like what we've seen so far is so far ahead of the good things we expected we could see and the level at which both sides of the ball are playing. I mean, right now through 3 weeks, we have a quarterback in Sam Darnold who is leading the NFL in touchdown passes. Yes, it's 3 weeks, but if I would have asked you if that was possible 5 months ago, you probably would have said no. And our defense, with a lot of new faces on it, is leading the league in sacks. Like those are two huge stats for those units that really show just how great this team is doing. And it is, it's mind blowing in a great way.
Yeah, it really is. And we are on the record for saying 7 to 9 wins, with around 10 being the ceiling. But unexpected things happen, and here we are. We're the best team in the NFL. I'll say it again.
I do want to go back because like our first two episodes, our first episode I think was us kind of hinting we had a little bit of, and I think we're definitely not in some hyper exclusive club 4 days out or 5 days out from free agency when we recorded that, who knew the Kirk Cousins Atlanta signing was inevitable. And I think we were trying to prepare some people for that. And then we talked about Kwesi's first, or not first, but I'd say first major free agency class. Because yes, this is his third year, but that was his first, we're going to go sign everybody we can class, and the first one for the Vikings in ages. I think we were optimistic since then. But how do you think those people who were on Twitter saying that they were going to like sell their season tickets or like find a new team when Kirk and Daniil left? Like, how do people were saying that? How do you think they're feeling right now?
You know, we could have started 0-3. Um, if you're selling your season tickets over losing Kirk Cousins, you're not a Vikings fan. Like, uh, and I love Kirk. I've said good things about Kirk. Kirk is a very good quarterback in the NFL. No one has ever said opposite of that in non-emotional settings and situations.
Any
Uh,
logical person.
yes, Kirk Cousins is a very good quarterback, but if you're selling your season tickets or threatening to do that or threatening to not watch the Vikings because Kirk Cousins isn't there, um, maybe your loyalties don't lie with the Minnesota Vikings. And if there's, I guess they lie with Kirk Cousins, which only one person there's one person I allow to do that. Um,
Because it's
and
funny.
you know. Shout out to him. He's getting another mention this week. But yeah, if you were threatening to sell your season tickets over Kirk Cousins, seek help, I guess. If it was over Kirk Cousins and Kirk Cousins alone, then little concerning. But like if there's a multitude of factors, sure, I get it. You don't trust Quasi, whatnot. Prices are going up, but it's like, oh, we're not resigning Kirk Cousins. Drat, sell him. Give him to somebody who actually likes the team. Cool, go ahead, do it. Actually, you have my full permission to do that. Now that
Yeah.
I think about it.
Well, I would agree with you, even if it was a little more than just Kirk Cousins, right? Because I think for many of them, Kirk was like the biggest factor, but then you add in Daniil, you add in some of them were still referencing over the Thielen, Kendricks, and Cook moves from the year before. Like, if you seriously take a step back, I'd say at about an 8 year, really 2017 on, and when the core has largely been the same outside of Diggs leaving and what? No, Cook was there. Yeah, he was a rookie in 2017 and was injured. But
Mm-hmm.
if you look at that and then Kurt coming in 2018 and you say, nah, 2024 is the year this team finally comes together as everybody's hitting their mid 30s and is painfully expensive. Oh no, they cut those guys or let them leave? Now I'm mad. Now we're not going to win a Super Bowl. Then that's just as insane to me. And, you know, I'll be honest, it took me a while to really embrace the idea of fully just saying let Kirk walk. I was very open to the idea of bringing back on a 1 year deal guaranteed with a second year option, which it seems is what the Vikings had offered. Where the only way you get that second year is either an insane playoff run or my preference would have been an actual Super Bowl win. Um, but once I kind of realized he wasn't going to take a deal like that, I quickly opened up to it. You seemed open to it, you know. Um, but man, this team's really fun, and you start to realize like, hey, look what they're able to do, and we're not even really seeing the benefits of the cap savings yet. We saw some of it, but like we're still carrying a ton of dead cap. Like imagine whether it's JJ McCarthy, who we still think's gonna be the quarterback next year, or Sam Darnold does something insane and he comes back. Like what this team's only gonna get better.
Yeah.
Why would you not trust? Or I get not trusting. We're Vikings fans. We're all tortured. But why would you not wait around to see what this is going to turn into when already 3 games in, it looks so promising for the future?
Oh, it's so cool to see a quarterback throw for 4,200 yards and 30 touchdowns.
Yeah, man. Win eight
Um,
games.
that was my perspective from the beginning. Is and again, I would have completely understood. I'm not saying I was pounding the table, let that loser go. Sorry, Kirk's not a loser, but like I'm just putting in perspective.
No,
Don't let
some
Kirk
people
Cousins
were.
go.
That
Yeah,
that were was again a group like that as well.
yeah. I'm saying I would have understood both sides, and I guess you could call me like a fence sitter for that. But I understand it's completely understood why you'd keep Kirk Cousins and Daniil Hunter, and completely understood why you'd move on. Seventh time's not going to be the charm. Common phrase I've used a lot. Uh, the perspective of, well, who else is going to come in and step in and do what Kirk did and throw for the 4,200 yards and 30 touchdowns? You don't need that. You don't need the next quarterback to do that. You can build out the rest of the team and build around the quarterback that's going to throw 3,800 yards and 23 touchdowns. Like Case Keenum threw what, 22 touchdowns to 7 picks, somewhere in the 3,000 yard mark in 2017. And 2017, the same year they won the same amount of playoff games that the Vikings did in the entire Kirk Cousins era, by the way. So you didn't need someone to come in and immediately be Kirk Cousins. Doesn't matter if it was Sam Darnold. Didn't matter if it was JJ McCarthy. Didn't matter if it was Michael Penix, Drake May.
Drake
Yeah,
May.
it
Drake
doesn't
May.
matter. Yeah,
Drake May.
trade up's done. Um, my point from the jump is you didn't need somebody to come in and be Kirk Cousins, and I don't want to say I'm being proven right now because Sam Darnold has kind of stepped in and maybe been better than Kirk Cousins
At least in the
was.
red zone. I have no problem
Yeah,
saying that. I mean, he's not, look, he's not, like we talked about last week, he's not throwing 430 yards or 380,
yeah,
but
he's throwing like 200, 250, and two
180, and
touchdowns.
he's gotten 8 touchdowns out of it.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up the what was I about to say? Oh my goodness, it was such a good point that I've completely forgotten and I was gonna cook on it.
I'm so sorry.
It's all right. No, this is on me. This is on me for having bad memory.
You were saying you don't need him to be Kirk Cousins.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you got me back. That's what people don't realize is we are still on the books for like $28 million of Kirk Cousins. That's not the 45 million it would have been if we re-signed him. But we're still paying a significant amount of money. Kirk Cousins, I think, is on the books for higher than anyone else on the team for this season alone because Jefferson's contract hasn't kicked in fully yet. I could be wrong on that, but if he's not number one, he's in the top two or three. So we're not, like you said, we're not even seeing the full benefit. I move my hands down here so much like you can see it. So let me do this. You can you can't even see the full benefit of letting Kirk Cousins walk because we're still paying him $28 million this year. Next year, I don't know how much is dead next year, if any, but I
It's
know
there's
that
different reports. I tried to look it over the cap and then a couple other sites, and it ranges as far as the available cap space and what they refer to as dead cap.
yeah, because I know what Quasi did to his contract before last season, added some void years, some dead cap onto it, but we haven't even seen it yet. We're 3-0, and by my words, again, the best team in the NFL, and we haven't even gotten to see all the riches of Kirk Cousins not being on this team. That money's going to go. We're going to spend that money somewhere else, but it's going to be to build out the team. Think of who we signed this offseason: Van Ginkel, Cashman. Those two by themselves, that's average annual value 16, $17 million combined.
And
So,
look what they're doing. And those
yeah.
aren't even like, let's be honest, like maybe in hindsight this changes, but at the time those weren't considered like top 2 or 3 free agent signings.
Hmm.
And they're already Grenard, Van Ginkel, Cashman a little quieter, but still massive impact. Aaron Jones, again, statistically, maybe not like he's not Adrian Peterson right now, but he is clearly affecting the game. All of these guys are huge parts of why this team is doing what they're doing. And then you add in guys like Gilmore and Griffin that have had quiet years because they haven't had to do a lot.
Hmm.
And you're like, oh my God, look what we can do with what little we have. Because what going last year, the big free agent signing was Josh Oliver and Davenport.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then before that, it was Zedarius, which was pretty. That was probably the biggest one we'd had in a minute. But
Hmm.
like, well, the Vikings, we haven't gotten the these big free agents in forever.
Yeah.
We just
And
really haven't.
if you thought this off season was something, just wait till this coming off season where we have even more cap space and we're going to have
Yeah.
even more flexibility of what we can do. And then the offseason after that. And then the offseason after that. And then the offseason after that, because you've got a quarterback on a rookie contract and you're not paying a 36-year-old $50 million a year.
It's my wife made a really funny point kind of about the season so far. She's like, this has been the best 3 weeks of football season in the 4 years we've been together because you've been so relaxed. And I thought about that, and true, also funny. But also I'm relaxed not just because of what's happening now, but because I'm very confident in the fact like yeah, for like the last 8 years, we've had to worry about like, oh, if we don't win it all this year, like we might have to blow it up and then we're gonna suck. And then we'd bring everybody back. Okay, well, if we don't win it all this year, then we're gonna have to blow it all up. And it was always this: will they win it all, or will they have to blow it up? And we never did either until the last couple of years we started to tear down what was the core of the roster and build back up. But like again, like to everything we're saying, if this is what we are doing, like Quasi, this is what I wrote about for my next article on Purple PTSD. If we've been here, everyone rolled their eyes at a competitive rebuild. This is the competitive rebuild. Finally,
Mm-hmm.
like it's now, and it is really damn competitive. But
So,
it's still a rebuild. Like it, everyone roasted him for saying that. It's here. He finally got the ring to do what he wanted to do. And this is what the competitive rebuild is. And it is actually both things. And it's really damn fun. So, with that, big game this weekend.
I was about to say, we're 20 minutes in, haven't even
I
talked.
know, but I just want to talk about this
Yeah.
because it's fun. And
No,
I
I
think
agree.
it's like you have to take a step back and be like, damn, like this team's in a really exciting place. You know what? We might do some Vikings things this year. And God forbid if it falls off the rails. But like the way we got to where we are, at least right now, is really sound, promising fundamental football and coaching. And that's what sticks around for the years to come. So I'm excited. I know you're excited.
To put a bow on
Let's
it, to put a bow on it, we know the Vikings from 2022 were good. They were unsustainably good. This team, by all underlying metrics, is sustainably good.
do you want to talk about DVOA?
No. Even
Yeah.
I don't even fully understand it.
Whenever, yeah, I brought up DVOA and my dog started crying and ran away. He knows who's about to show up. Anyways, let's talk about the actual game versus the Packers, right?
Oh, I
So
get it. I get it. All right, I get it. Sorry, it took me a
what?
minute. Took me a
Yeah,
minute.
it took you a minute. Yeah, if you know, you know. If you don't, I will not. I will not taint your soul with that. Um, in Green Bay, big news on the injury report side for both teams. Everyone's playing for the Vikings. When I say everyone, somebody got on me on Twitter about this. I don't mean Hawk or JJ McCarthy. IR is not an injury report designation. Shockingly, it just means
But IR doesn't that stand for injury report?
oh.
No, it doesn't.
Anyways, everyone except Pace is playing. People were panicking, and I know you're on your Twitter vacation. Um, but people were panicking over Darisaw not practicing yesterday. He either was got a cold or ate some Taco Bell. He's fine. He's good. He was sick. Um, Addison being back, massive. Dallas Turner. I don't know if I'm ready to say his impact and role at this stage is massive, but it's good. It's beneficial. And the Packers, Jordan Love has still not gone through a full practice. So he is
Yeah.
questionable. I believe he's a game time decision, which my gut tells me he plays. I don't think he's practiced at least to some degree for a week and a half not to play in their first divisional game. And then Jair is questionable, didn't practice at all. What do you think about those guys? Do you think we see them
I
both? Neither.
I think my gut actually leans the other way on Jordan Love because I think, and you could say it the other way too, but if I'm thinking if you're wanting to start a quarterback and you really don't want the other team that you're playing that week, to know who's going to be starting, like they're doing that in a vacuum. But I just feel like all the steps they're taking to make it sound like Love is going to play checks out with them being like, okay, Malik Willis is actually going to play, and like they
Very
know.
surface level.
Yeah, but
It's more like, yeah,
you could
I get
flip
what you
that
mean.
around too.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, KOC made it a point this week earlier. I think he was on with Rich Eisman. I can't remember what interview. To say they're preparing for both. They are dramatically different quarterbacks in what you're going to face. Um, I will say the solace is, as much as I've walked back these statements from 2022, if the Vikings lose to Malik Willis, I will victory lap with some old Malik Willis propaganda I was throwing out there,
Good.
um, that I have purposely not even mentioned existed. And if the Vikings beat him or he doesn't play, no need to know it existed.
Yeah,
Ignore this entire segment.
I don't even know what you're talking
Um,
about.
I was open to the Vikings drafting him because I
Nope,
projected he would
don't know what
fall.
you're talking about. Don't know what you're talking about.
I thought he would have been an interesting
Don't
project
know
for a
what you're
young
talking
quarterback
about.
focused coach. Anyways, I this game, man, this game. I think everything on paper I'm looking at, the Vikings should win this game. But
Yes.
going back to the point you made, shockingly, that wasn't even a real deodorant. That was an inserted special effect. That's how good
Yeah.
our budget is.
It was a ticker.
Um, Back to your point from last week, divisional games are wonky. How many times have we lost to a dog shit Lions team in a year we were competing for a playoff spot? How many times have we been bad and beat the Packers in a year they went to the NFC Championship game? Um, but on paper, the Vikings should win, and I don't think it should be particularly close.
Yeah, I think my official prediction was 30-13 for Minnesota, just because I want to be right about the Vikings blowing someone out. I don't necessarily think they're going to, but I just want to be right about it for once because I've never been right about that.
I think if I think either quarterback could give this defense trouble
Yeah.
for different reasons. I don't think we're gonna see Love at full strength if he plays. I think it would be kind of short, sweet, focused passes to try to get the ball out of his hand as quickly as possible so he doesn't get re-injured. And I think Malik, if he can just get a little bit of a gap, could sneak past any blitzing defenders and pick up chunk yardage at a time. So I have the Vikings 34-30. I think it'll be closer. I don't think it should be close. I think the Vikings, again, on paper, should run all over them. But taking into consideration your point as far as a division game getting wonky, I think it's going to be closer than I want it to be or it should be.
Yes. And I think we talked a little bit about it on Monday, I think is when we did a show.
Yes.
Um, it's gonna be, and Malik Willis has contributed to the run game of the last two games, but like if you take that away, just straight up, they're still like a top five rushing offense in terms of right yards per game. This is the number one rushing offense going against the number two rushing defense in terms of yards per game. But if you want to get a little bit deeper into the metrics, talking about yards before contact per attempt, Jason, would you like to take a guess at how many yards before contact that opposing teams have against the Minnesota Vikings through 3 weeks?
You know what's
Yards
funny?
yards before touched by the defense.
Half a yard.
0.22 yards before contact. That means
So a fifth of a yard.
from the line of scrimmage, they runners are being touched, pause immediately, which that's insane. That's actually ridiculous.
I do think it's important though, and like not to like be unexcited about a really impressive thing. The Vikings have not truly faced a starting caliber running back. Well, week one, who was the Giants running back again?
Devin Singletary.
Singletary. Okay, debatable. But we played backups the last 2 weeks. That's what would be held against you. Now,
Any
Cam
running back,
Akers is fine.
any running back in a Shanahan style scheme, I'm giving flowers that guy.
Yeah, Mason's doing. He's going to be a starter next year somewhere. I think if he's not, if he's able to be. What's his situation? Is he on a rookie deal or is he a 1 year deal?
Rookie, or I don't, I'm sure a rookie
I
deal.
don't. Yeah, so never mind. He won't be able to leave. But if he wanted to or got traded, he could probably start elsewhere. I don't know. McCaffrey may never come back. I think he's still in Europe. He went to some like German doctor, and they're like, "Yeah, he's out 2 months now."
Nice, good.
Anyways,
Give
yeah,
me
the
that.
NFC's looking real wide open. No, I mean, yeah, that's impressive. I think this is going to be the toughest challenge. I think that number will go up a little bit, but
Yeah,
even half a yard, like my guess, like I still would have been blown away by that. So
mhm. It's crazy.
I, yeah, I do think this is obviously again the number one rushing offense. Naturally, it's our toughest test, but I just think it's such a jump in difficulty that this team, if they continue to do what they're doing, that is all the more sign and reason to be excited as hell about this defense.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, if Jair doesn't play, yeah, that news came out about 20, 30 minutes after it was reported Addison's good to go. So,
Jay, scared.
dude, because he knows he's going to get roasted no matter who he covers. I mean, because you cannot double, triple bracket Jefferson if Addison's playing, unless it was last December where Jair didn't even have to play, but Jaron Hall couldn't get a pass off because or he could, he just wasn't anywhere near a receiver.
Jair
That is
saw
the only time. That is the only time Jair, or pardon me, not Jair, Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison have played the Packers together, and Jaron Hall was just yeeting balls into the turf.
it's crazy. Jair saw that Jordan Addison was in the driver's seat and was like, "No, thank you."
Yeah, I don't even have another job. I did see. I have to shout out GCB on Twitter and TikTok. Did the most out of pocket Jordan Addison edit where it literally cuts from him getting put into the back of a police car to highlights.
Nice.
Admittedly, it was fire.
Yeah.
Speaking of Twitter, we went to Twitter, and by that I mean I did because Brev is now living an Amish life. And as for your predictions for this Sunday, so TJ hit me with 24-10 Vikes. Aaron Jones, as I say the player names in this tweet, he's tagging the players, which is cool. Aaron Jones with 160 all-purpose yards and 2 tutties. Dallas Turner with a strip sack, and Stephon Gilmore with a pick. AJ, Vikings 24, Packers 10. Seems to be a popular score pick.
Hmm.
Defense steps up big again and gives the offense breathing room in a divisional game. Aaron Jones scores and does the leap, or as we now call it, the bank vault, but this is not at the bank. Norse Chronicles, Aaron Jones with 2 tutties and Vikings win by 2 or more scores. Dustin, our friend from Twitter and TikTok, very specific. Aaron Jones, 1 tutty and 100 yards. Jefferson, 1 tutty and 85. Ginkel, or Van Ginkel. I don't know whenever I read his name and I try to say just his last name, I just say Ginkel. Ginks, 2 sacks. Gilmore, 1 INT.
Let's get that on a parlay and call it the That Vikings Fan Parlay of the Week.
Ooh, yes, I will. I think that's a good idea. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna do it. That one seems like one where you could put like $5 down and still win like a few hundred.
Yeah.
I think I'll do that. Cheryl, 24-14 Vikes.
A lot of 24s.
A lot of 24s. A lot of people thinking the Packers defense is gonna hold us at bay compared to the last 2 weeks.
24 is almost like the most common score in football. Weird.
Based K's. Vikings continue the trend of 5 sacks plus 2 takeaways per game, and Jones and Jefferson and Addison all record a touchdown each. Tim Flagstad, 34-17. That's all he said. So technically, hedging his bets.
Nice.
Either way. Cora, friend of the show, friend of ours. We're winning by 2 field goals. Fire emoji.
Why not?
Ben winning by 2 scores, and Love, if he plays, has 2 picks. I think he means gets picked twice. I don't think he will be playing corner.
Right.
Sponge.
Thanks for playing.
I think we'll see Naylor splitting time with Addison. Also, a lot of lighter 11 personnel to get Jets, JA, and Speedy on the field at the same time. I predicted that in a conversation earlier this week with my friend at work who's a Vikings fan. I definitely think we'll see all 3 of them, and you can't stop them all.
True.
Especially without Hawkinson. You have no excuse not to throw those 3 guys out there, especially with Naylor's recent tendency of getting open at least a couple times in every game.
Is Jalen Naylor better than Jordan Addison?
No, he's not. We're not doing this narrative. My good friend Alex Updike, back from high school, we played baseball together. He is a Vikings fan, originally raised in Iowa. Vikings fans. Vikes win 24-17. So again, 24. Everybody with the 24. Doob at Sir Doobie with a picture of a clown. Aaron Jones going to look really good and end up fumbling at either a very crucial moment or on the goal line again.
Could happen.
Highly possible. Brave Skull at Just One Before I Die. What do you? How many points do you think he has the Vikings scoring?
24.
And the Packers 17. Vikings win, baby, with like 9 A's. Jesse Munger. Their pressure versus our protections are only concern, Jordan Love or not. Not necessarily a prediction, but I think a fair assessment. Jonathan at Skull 4444.
4 4s.
How many points do you think he is the Vikings scoring?
24.
Trick question. 44. Should have paid attention. Packers, nothing. Skullmaster. Addison is back. Vikings by 6. It's Jimmy G 619. Jordan Love is sacked 7 times. I do not think he would play that whole game if that happened.
Potentially not.
Sam Darnold season parentheses 3-0, aka at Big Kitten 432674. I love the internet. The game isn't going to be as close as people think, and the Vikings win by more than 2 scores.
My God, that's what I said.
I think it shouldn't be close, but I think just somehow inevitably it will be.
I'm okay with it being I want it to be really close, and it's going to suck in the moment, but I need to see a Will Riker game-winning field goal so bad. So bad I need it.
And then just see him in the locker room throwing on, oh my God, do you not know about his new brand deal?
No.
Crocs slides. He has an entire ad where he narrates it with his with his like subtle southern accent that peeks through very strongly at different points, talking about his croc recovery slides. It
Let's
is this
go.
man. This man simply cannot stop getting money from white people brands like Walmart and Crocs, and it
We
is
have
hilarious.
we have to get him on.
We
Next,
have to get Will Reichert on.
he's
We
gonna
have
have
to get Will Reichert on the Skolcial Network.
he's gonna have a Vineyard Vines deal next.
Hollister.
GMC, GNC, not GMC. I mean, yeah, GMC's too actually.
Nah, he's a Toyotathon guy.
Yeah, Toyota, maybe
Who
a.
was it I saw? Kyler Murray is a Toyotathon merchant, I think is the TikTok I saw.
Oh, makes sense. I
Man,
guess.
TikTok is breaking my brain. Apparently, every election year, the Bears and Colts play, and the winner determines the presidential election that year.
Have they played? Oh yeah, the Colts won, right? Or no? Have they played yet? Yeah, they played each other.
Yep.
Who won? The Colts.
Bears, I think.
Am I okay? No, it was the Bears. That was last week. Who am I?
Mm, that was not. Was that last week?
Do I know ball?
No, the Colts won. Sorry, that was
Oh,
last week. I was thinking of the Titans game. I flipped those. I was thinking of week one. No, yes. How could I forget the Will Levis meme? No, Colts won.
so Colts won, blue won, meaning
No,
Kamala.
no, the opposite. This is not an endorsement. It's just a TikTok I saw with data since the year 2000 when when division realignment happened and the AFC, NFC divisions play each other on a 4-year switch. It just lines up where in election years the NFC North faces the AFC South, and that's been just the correlation.
Go Colts! This is our team.
We
We
bleed
bleed
blue. We
blue.
tell them now we bleed blue. Nobody bleeds blue as good as we do.
Nobody bleeds bluer blood than we bleed blue.
Why do you sound like an 80s like nerd in a sitcom when you do that impersonation particularly?
I don't know.
I've noticed a funny trend. So if Jordan Love doesn't play Sunday, um I've been going back to my roots as far as what helped me to kind of grow a following, which is just posting old Vikings highlights. And I posted some classic Vikings Packers highlights this week. Favre against the Packers, AD 2012, 9 yards short of breaking the record. And for some reason, all these Packers fans are in the replies of that video asking what happened next week. And I think they seem to forget that, yes, they won the playoff game, but it was against Joe Webb. I've also seen a lot of people pointing out statistics specifically of Justin Jefferson in a game with Jaron Hall as his quarterback and a game with Sean Mannion as his quarterback. If we beat Malik Willis, are they going to then hit me with well, that was our backup quarterback, even though they're over here like flexing wins against Joe Webb and Sean Mannion and Jaron Hall?
Yeah. Yeah, they're going to.
I just want to make sure. I expected it, but I just wanted to make sure that you thought the same thing, because that sounds entirely on brand.
Gonna happen, unfortunately. They're not that bright.
Just going after the Wisconsin public education system.
They go after themselves. All
I
right.
did see somebody say Wisconsin was the Alabama of the Midwest.
So I've heard. Good
I don't
cheese,
know
though, or
quite what
something.
that. Big fan.
Yeah.
But with that, it's going to be an interesting weekend to say the least, and it's going to be in about an interesting, really like 9-day window. When do the Vikings travel to London? Probably Wednesday, Tuesday.
I would think we got to get acclimated with the time difference.
Wow, that's incredible. Can you do all of next week's episode with that British accent, please?
Yeah.
I think we really desperately need you to do that. I think that would be
Yeah.
really, really appreciated,
Oh,
honestly.
yeah.
Okay, maybe not. Actually, don't, please.
All right.
Change of heart. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one. Vikings, yeah, will be getting back from Green Bay and then immediately prepping to travel to London, which I believe last time they did not let them sleep on the flight. and had them go to practice the second they landed?
Yeah, is that right?
Such a bad British accent.
Your mother.
On that note, we are very optimistic about Sunday.
Are we?
I'm optimistic as hell. I just
I am too.
know that we should win. I fully believe we should. There's really no excuse if we don't, especially with us missing only one player on the active roster.
So true.
So I have no. Are you now trying to get a Glade sponsorship?
No.
Just you turn into like a prop comic.
Yeah.
Really glad we're reaching the peak entertainment here. But with that in mind, Brev, when are we recording? Sunday or Monday? Or just whenever you decide?
I'll decide that.
Sounds good.
Probably, I don't know. I have to work late Sunday, so.
Okay, so probably either Sunday night or Monday. We'll figure it out. But with that, we will see you guys either Sunday or Monday. If the Vikings don't win, we'll probably never see you again because we'll be in hiding. But we are definitely looking forward to what happens in Green Bay this weekend. Brev, any last thoughts?
Skull Vikings, this is the best team in the NFL.
Super Bowl or bust. We'll see you in New Orleans.